So, I
Yeah.
mean, like, this isn't such a,
Yeah.
it's as organically started by somebody booked me for podcast consulting and 5 minutes in said, I lied. I need to come out of the closet. I don't have a podcast, nor do I want to talk about a podcast. I just want to talk Bravo. And I'm like, sweetheart, the check cleared. So let's talk. So this is a real thing if anyone wants to book me. My point is, Vicki should have taken my podcast course because look, I'll give credit where credit's due. Teresa Giudice, Turning the Tables, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant name. That is the most brilliant name I have ever heard. Turning the Tables for Teresa. It implies so many things. It's a brilliant name. Now we have my friend, my soulmate, my podcast. Like this has to be a joke. This is the actual name of the podcast. It is absolutely, positively the worst podcast name I have ever heard. Sarah's laughing, guys. Anyone watching on YouTube, this is the worst podcast name I have ever heard, ever in my entire life. It is horrendous.
Oh God, you're making me cry. My friend, my soul, it's a long one. It's a long one. It's a real mouthful, and it's 3 lines. That's a lot of that's a lot of podcast art. Although I've seen them, I think they do and then it's like podcast, soulmate. Uh what is it then after that? I
Podcast.
don't know.
See, you've like already forgot the damn title.
All right. Look, I don't know. People do need your course. I always say this is why you and I are dear friends. I mean, the knowledge people don't even realize like what a genius you are on the business side of podcasts. For someone, you have a business background, so that's why. But you came into this game and you have done something that most podcasters have never done. And I'm talking podcasters that even have 16 times the audience that you do, and you have 1 million listeners a month. Okay, so you have like you are the Mac Daddy. I don't know what to expect from this podcast. Everybody is jumping on this train, and you and I have reported, unfortunately, but it's the truth. So many housewives have dropped their shows. Ramona and Avery, toast. Namaste Bitches, gone for whatever reason.
Scrubbed from the internet.
Margaret Joseph's podcast gone, and she was even on with the lovely women from the Toast. I mean, and couldn't do it.
Teddy.
Bethany's
Teddy's first podcast, which was horrible. Teddy in a teapot. Teddy failed in the podcast game, and that show failed.
They don't know what they're doing. A lot of people don't know what they're doing. Now, Teddy's figured it out.
Oh, yes.
Now we're taking advice from Teddy, from the melon pool. But anyhow, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to cover. I really don't. I'm trying to think of other.
I do.
Other successful. Melissa Gorga's podcast is successful. Who else has got it?
It's not bad.
Other housewives have got successful podcasts.
Let's also say Larsa. Larsa trying to shop a new podcast. I know that for a fact. Her podcast failed with Marcus Jordan.
That got like what, 4 episodes? They didn't even get to 7. Most people quit at 7 episodes. They didn't even make
this
there.
Babbling moron, Marisol Patton. I mean, a true babbling moron. Her and Alexia, their podcast. Does anyone listen? Marisol is a babbling moron in life. Sorry, that just slipped out. But
Vicki, look, I love Vicki. She truly is the OG. And wasn't that that was the name of the other one? The OG of the OC? No. What was the original podcast? It was something.
There was Whoop It Up, and then there was something else. But that is what I was going to tell you. It's not ego. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I'll be really honest. If you really want to get into the business of it, the time I spend per hour that people book me for this advice, it isn't my big moneymaker. It's my way of giving back. But I mean, I do need to be paid. I'm not getting on the Zoom without it because I would rather sleep because I'm fucking exhausted. But if Vicki paid me for the advice, which is no ego, the name of this podcast, the number one name that comes to my mind is OG Energy. Now you have this
that would be good.
Unknown co-host. If you call it OG Energy, it implies that he's really good at something. I don't know what he is, but it implies, it references her being the OG. OG Energy, it says so much in 2 words. It's like big dick energy. Just, OG Energy is a great fucking name for a podcast. And we know her as the OG of the OC. I don't know if that's from her, from Andy, because really the OG of the OC is Gina Keogh, but that would have been the name. You could have called it the OG of the OC, which would imply that it's her podcast. Now she has a co-host that's asking her questions. It's not as good. And if you want to go with this, because I can tell you what the podcast is going to be about, because I know her journey. She wants to talk about the reason she's not going to beat Tamara is she won't lean all in. Vicki wants a podcast, and this is why a lot of companies have not chosen to do business with her. She wants a podcast that is about women's empowerment, which is about financial advice, which is about being a good person. And that's all great in the real world. Nobody wants that from you. So she is going to talk Housewives as well. But really, if she wants this holistic podcast, you should have called it Life, Love, and Housewives. Like if she really wants to, right? That's not horrible.
Dude, I would have gone, if I were her,
OG
I would
energy.
have done a conservative. I would have done the Conservative Housewives podcast. I would have gotten the Avengers of the conservatives of the MAGA together. I would have called Ziggy, who you just had on. I would have called Kelly, and I would have called Vicki. And I would have been like, let's lean into, we're three conservative gals who have our opinions about politics and housewives. And, I would lean into the victim of like, are they discriminated against on that network because they are Republicans? Dude, they would go off the freaking charts. I wouldn't go. I would share my true Republican opinions. I wouldn't go like crazy, crazy. They would have, the sponsors they would have, like the amount of money that conservative companies are looking for women. Ha! They would be rich beyond belief. If they just like, oh my God, it would be bananas. Like, the gold and silver companies that would be writing them blank checks. Okay. That's what I would do. There isn't a podcast like that. And Kelly now, I don't know Rick just got a job at Newsmax because Rick and I both worked for Fox. So he's now at Newsmax. So keep the success. She and Rick could still do Daily Smash or whatever, but do a conservative. Where is it for the reality TV? Or you know what? Even better, reach out to somebody that's a reality star from a different show, different network who's conservative. Boom.
I am absolutely speechless. I think that is absolutely brilliant. Brilliant.
No,
I don't, so does it would make, yes, I love this idea. This is what we do here at the course. I have taught Sarah for free way too well here, way too well. Okay. Because that is,
defend myself a bit. I've been in media for 20 years.
That's very arrogant in
the
me.
trade. Okay. I mean, yeah, I've been in radio, television. I did know a few things.
Well, you know more than a few things.
Finance, but
you
I
know
do
more
have
than because that is
thank you.
brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, we have Dylan Mulvaney and we have these companies going broke. I mean, I love Dylan, but let's not get into my thoughts. But I mean, we had people shooting Budweiser cans in the backyard. So this is real. So I agree, that saying go woke, go broke. Sponsors would jump on. It would be these conversations. I mean, hey, a lot of people in this audience might be rolling their eyes right now. We're not here to take sides. We're here to think of what's going to make money. The marketing on that with her, Kelly, and Siggy.